It was the rabbit again. It was wearing a beautiful dress, and it had its pocket watch with it. Plex looked at it and saw what it was worrying about. My fan and gloves. Where could I have dropped them? It said. Plex said to himself. What is he worried about? Isn't the duchess going to kill him? Then the rabbit looked at him. It looked angry and it stared at him for 4 seconds. Then it said something. What are you doing here? Plex looked confused. He was really confused what the rabbit said. Keep my pen and gloves out of my house, now, the rabbit shouted. Wow, you, Marianne, you will pay with this. But I am not Marianne. I'm Plex. Plex says. Fine. He went off looking for the fan and gloves, being confused of what was going on. Why did this rabbit scold me to get its fan and gloves out of its house? He thought. Then he found a pretty house. As he walked in front of it, Plex knocked on the door. Then he opened the door and saw no one inside. I'm concerned. Why is no one in here? Plex said. He walked around the room and saw no stairs to go up or down. In fact, there was a table, the fan and gloves from the rabbit, and a bottle. How odd it seems if I were catching a rat. Maybe the nurse will call me, he said. Then he began imagining about what will happen if a nurse called him. Hello, Mr. Plex. Come upstairs. Just a minute, nurse. I just need to trap a rat. Only I don't think that the nurse or anything would kill any rat like a tail cutter, Plex said, being confused. Soon he found the bottle and the fan and gloves from the rabbit. He grabbed the bottle and looked at it. I'll have to see if this bottle will make me grow back to my normal size again. I promise this will make me large again, Plex said as he opened the lid. Soon he drank all of it and found himself growing again as he bumped his head at the roof of a house. He was now scared again. That's quite enough. I don't want to grow anymore. At least I can't go out the door. I do wish I were not drunk quite so much, he said to himself. But the wish cannot stop. Plex kept on growing and growing, and he kneeled down and tried to cover his head. But his head will not be covered and just kept hurting. Then he lied down and just kept growing, and his right foot stuck inside the chimney, and his left hand crashed out the window. Plex cannot seem to think that he stopped growing, but luckily he did. But he was still scared about the bottle he drank and all the stuff he knocked down over while growing. Now I couldn't grow anymore because of this. I think that the author would write some fairy tales I like. They would call me Plex's Adventures in Wonderland. I love this. But I'm still scared in the fact of growing bigger and shrinking smaller and being mad to cats and dogs. I'm tired of growing and shrinking. Then and he heard something, and he found it out that it was the rabbit again. The rabbit knocked on the door and tried to go in, but Plex's arm was pushed against it. Then, if I can't go inside, then I'll go inside the window, the rabbit stated. No, you won't, Plex said. Then, with his hand, he pushed the rabbit out of a window, and the rabbit fell into the flower bed and it broke into pieces. It's an arm, all right. Then, I need to call someone. Pat? 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 Where are you? The rabbit said in a rapid tone. Soon, Pat came out of nowhere. What is it, my master rabbit? It asked. Pat, what's out of my window? The rabbit asked it. It's an arm, all right, Pat said. But it looks like one of the yellow robot's right arm. An arm? Well, that's just great. We need to call some animals, the rabbit screamed. Whatever will happen to me next? Plex thought. I don't want to stay out here longer. Soon, he looked out of a window and saw a little bit of scold animals. The scold animals were talking about something that would make Plex be a little angry. We need a lizard named Bill, one of the scold animals said. The rabbit and Pat agreed. So the rabbit called, Bill! What is it? Bill said, as it went out of nowhere. The rabbit said, go get the upper chimney and kill the yellow robot. Bill was scared, and then they got a ladder as it climbed up. Go up a chimney! The scold animals chorused. Oh, so Bill hasn't been up the chimney, hasn't it? Plex thought to himself. I must protect myself. In his own mind, he put his right foot inside the chimney to blow Bill out. Then he heard the scold animals again. I can't reach it, Bill screamed. Go down the chimney then, the rabbit yelled. Bill jumped inside the chimney as Plex said to himself. They might seem to put everything upon Bill. Look out below! Bill screamed. This is Bill, Plex whispered. His right foot boomed Bill out of the chimney as the scold animal shouted, There goes Bill! Get it by the edge, you scoldies! The rabbit shouted. The scold animals holded Bill as the lizard inhales and exhales. That's it! Its breath is gone! One of the scold animals cried. Pull the house down, the rabbit said. Soon, one of the animals got some rocks out of the ground and started throwing them in the window, making Plex's left arm hurt. Then he saw something on his hand. I'll have to make a stop on this, he says. Then he saw another strange thing. The rocks were turning into cakes. Plex took one of the cakes out of the floor and looked at it. If I eat one of these cakes, maybe these would make me back to my normal size again. I just don't want to be more bigger. I just give myself good advice, he thought. He ate the cake and just shrank rapidly. Plex ran away from the house and into a small door in the back. When he went inside, the room looked different. There were cupboards with ink and some bottles and some clay pots. Then he found a cookie jar and a bottle. No bottle or cookies this time, he said to himself. Then he turned around and saw a way back out. It was a very small door and Plex went out of it. There he saw nothing but grass. Now, all I want to do is to find my way back to the beautiful garden, to find and see the lovely fountains and stuff, he said. Then he found a big puppy. Poor puppy. I think you may have to play with a stick, Plex said. He used his antenna to beam a stick on his hand. Here, big puppy, look at this, he said. The puppy growled and Plex screamed. I have to get out of here. He ran away from the puppy and dropped the stick behind. Then he bumped into a mushroom and he looks up. It wasn't a human, but it was a caterpillar.